All praises to the Most High. This is Elliot. Nothing has changed. This world is still ending. And what's prompted me to talk about this today is recently I was kind of going over my catalog. I was going over some old videos on this channel. And I was like, man, I wish, or lack of better words, it would be nice that if I could put up videos that would be more fun and joyful, expressive, and provide a lot of hope for the world ahead. But I had to really take some time out and realize that it's just not that season. And while I can, present hope and talk about the things that we need to do just to get through the daily grind as believers in the Most High, the truth of the matter is, the elephant in the room is that the world is still coming to a close. Despite the hope that has been talked about from our fellow neighbor, maybe even coming from politicians, about how things may change for the better, believe that that's not the case. At least for those who are called, chosen, and set apart in these last days. See, for us, we're going to realize that it's more necessary for us more than ever to truly come out of this world like we never have before. And what does that entail? What does that mean? That means we just can't operate and flow the way that we once did. We can't be all up in every event. We can't be around people that we know are following the world as in the direction that it's going. See, the Bible says that in the last days that it will be like the days of Noah. More specifically, it says, as in the days of Noah, so will the coming of man be. That means when Yahshua comes back, or Jesus, if that's who you know his name as, that it's going to be very similar to the days where the Most High had to eradicate the earth of human beings because they were no longer that. Because they've chosen to mix themselves with beasts of all kinds and the fallen angels, even that messing up their DNA. So they were no longer the same species that the Most High created. And it's not by coincidence that we're dealing with people in a season recently where things have been taken to change the DNA of people. Despite what you've been heard, that's what's happening. And it's a tough thing to see, witness, and just try to wrap your brain around as we get through, or as we try to go through the days ahead. So we have to know that what it's really called to be, what it's really like to be called, chosen, set apart, it becomes a life of discipline, a life of sacrifice, and in many cases, a life of isolation, where you just can't be running in the same circles that you used to run in. And yes, that includes your family and some of your close friends. If they've chosen to take the wide path, but you've chosen to take the straight and narrow path. See, I think about how often it seems to be happening a little bit more so as people think that things are just back to the way they used to be, that I get pulled in the directions of, Elliot, how come you don't come around anymore? Elliot, we just want to be around you. You just seem to be, is there something wrong with me? Is this? And now look, I know that in this world that we have to mix and mingle in the ways we need to get stuff done. But to really be called, chosen, and set apart, sometimes there's going to be tough decisions that are going to be made, that have to be made in order for us to just flow and do what we need to do. Because when you find out that when you start to mingle and mix with the world in the way that you once did, one of the things that's going to be is kind of frustrating. See, I have a very strong sense of discernment and feeling, and for some people, this may not even be an issue. And if it's not an issue, it's still something that needs to be looked at, like something that needs to be. That's why I'm speaking about this today, because maybe you can evaluate it in your own life. You have to be careful of who you're exposing yourself to, because not only is the world changing, so are people. As a matter of fact, I can tell when I'm amidst certain people that they're just a fragment of their former selves. You know, some people are completely different, just completely, you know, somewhat lost their mind, lost who they were. And it's unfortunate. But it is what we have to do and go through in these last days in terms of endurance. Because endurance is the key to winning what's before us, to holding on to the promises that Most High has for us, and to really maintaining our soul for the Most High God and spending eternity. See, eternity is a lot longer than the time we have on this earth. Eternity is forevermore. So it seems like a very tough sacrifice, but it's a very small sacrifice for us to do what we need to do in these last days to hold on. And if that includes us really coming out of this world and by association, by practice, former practices. See, this is not something that this is not something I'm just preaching without doing it. I really walk it like I talk it. And I know it's tough. It's so tough sometimes to be able to have to watch things that you are used to, people you were used to being around and trusting and being open with, and realizing that you've taken two different paths in life. And so the path that we need to be on as those who are called, chosen, and set apart by the Most High is the narrow path. And that's the path that will not lead to distractions. See, I think about horses. You know, horses, when they are in traffic, for example, say you got a cart and buggy, right, with the horse on it. And when they put these horses in traffic or on streets or whatever, they put these blinders on them. There's little leather patches on either side of their eyes wrapped around a harness from their head. And it keeps them focused on straight what's ahead of them, so they don't get distracted by the peripheral. See, on the wide path, imagine the wide path, you know, the path that most people take. Imagine that have like 6 lanes of traffic on the left, six lanes of traffic on the right, and you're in the middle. And if you're a horse, you're looking to the left, you see all kind of things going on over here. You're looking to the right, you see all things going on over here. Maybe even looking up, right? Looking down. But on the straight path, it's like having blinders on. And you're focused straight ahead. You're looking straight towards the mark of the high calling of the Most High Son, Yahshua, on our lives and everything He's called us to do. That's where we need to be. That's where we need to stay focused on, and not being pulled from this way to that way and accidentally compromising ourselves to the point where we may lose ourselves. Like I said, I was going through my catalog and I was like, man, you know, I really want to say some stuff that brings hope, joy, and peace, and hope for tomorrow. And well, what's that they used to say in church all the time? The latter will be greater, and today is I don't remember, but everything, you know, we used to learn in church, and just the things that really would come out of the pulpit would be like, the best is yet to come, right? Well, that is true, but it may not be in this word in particular for those who are called, chosen, and set apart by the Most High. All right? So we take these things one step at a time, and we stay focused in on everything that He has us to do. And we cannot compromise in any way because, see, the things are still going in the way of closure. Despite all the rhetoric that may be flowing from the governments across the world, because it's being consolidated. Despite, you know, new construction here and there, we're still dealing with the world being clamped down upon us. Surveillance like never before. Identifying ourselves digitally through basically data entrapment, having data on us on every single thing that we do, watching our every move. Of course, you've seen all kinds of different weather going on across the world and definitely across the United States. It's like basically you only have to watch. You only need one weather forecast for the entire country now. It's like you used to watch a local forecast, but now everything is just being forecasted because it's so controlled. Everything is modified. Everything is coming to the point of being completely controlled because the Satan has taken his grip and is clamping down like never before, and we have to endure through this. We have to do everything that we can to make it through and not compromise ourselves for convenience. Because what's going on in these last days is about endurance, about being able to stand strong and hold on through faith and knowing that He will provide for us for everything that we need, even when it gets tough. And I'm not going to say that it's easy. It already hasn't been easy. There's been a lot that many of us have gone through just within the past 5 years alone. So much so, I know in my own case that I've literally had to block it out of my mind just to go forward. But I will take time to exercise myself and remind myself to dig deep, to think about some of the things that I kind of force myself to put into a compartment to not deal with, just to make life a little bit easier to go through day by day. But the reason why I remind myself of those things is to not lose sight of where we are. And that's why I bring you this message right now. Do not lose sight that the fact that things are coming to an end for real, especially for those who are called, chosen, and set apart for the Most High. We have to know that even if things don't change within a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, 10 years, 20 years from now, it's on. It's happening. And we have to maintain purity, not just in our spirit life, but even in our own physical life. Our blood needs to remain pure, if you know what I mean. We have to do everything that we need to do to stand in the midst of the revelatory things that are happening, in terms of the things that were happening in the book of Revelation, the seals being broken. How far are we? Further than you think, ladies and gentlemen. So I say this again today, despite everything that you see, despite the good news that we look for, just to continue to go forward, and I will continue to talk about the things that we need to talk about, just to personally develop spiritually and be prepared to handle the things that happen, because life continues to go on. And yes, even though we're called to set apart, we still have to jump into this matrix sometimes and handle it and do what we need to do. But at the same time, it's no time to play around. And it's no time to forget where we really are in terms of prophecy unfolding right before our eyes. This is the truth that we live in. Not to mention our identity. And I've touched on that many times, but if you've not really come into who you are in this world through all the false teachings and the lies that have been put before us, then I pray that you come into an awakening that many people are coming into right now. This little message I wanted to drop to make sure that we're all staying on task and on course and not allowing the distractions and the pull of this world to get us off of where we need to be. All praises to the Most High. And until the next time we speak, This is Elliot. Shalom.